chicken and broccoli. Just kidding.
And welcome. This episode on TDB is sponsored by not liking chicken and broccoli.
Yeah. Chicken breast, get out.
We paired up with Big Pork to fight back on the poultry industry, and we're doing tea stuff for some reason. Anyway, hello. Episode 4.
We'll accept anyone as sponsors.
Yeah. Do you breathe? Pay us.
Yeah. Do you not breathe? We also have sponsored by Big Tobacco. Yeah. Okay.
What are we doing?
We are doing some tea from Chensheng Hao. So this is one of their signature teas, the Banzhang from 2022.
Cool.
This sells for a whopping $900 a cake, but you can buy a sample from them. They were nice enough to send us some of this too. And I think for Westerners, and I think you can order from them, it's interesting because this is an example of what you can order from like a company that's selling mostly to Chinese people or people in Asia. Mm-hmm. Unlike, Yunnan sourcing white tea, nothing at all wrong with them, but they're very much Western focused as far as like their customer base and who they're selling to. So I think it's interesting to buy from some of these other vendors that, are primarily selling to other Chinese people.
Yeah. I'm looking inside of this packaging here, and I'm noticing all of the white powder that I feel like is very typical of young ripe. Or raw, excuse me. Kind of like a fungus thing of some sort.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. The liqueur of the color of the leaves looked quite white to me. Initially, or young buds at least. So interesting to see. Pretty green in here.
Yeah, took a good smell of that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite floral. Wow. Okay. All right.
So we will see.
We'll
see how strong this is.
It smells really good. Like really intense fruit punch flavors.
Fruit punch.
Yeah. Whoa.
Definitely not how they're selling it to the Chinese audience.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Fruity. We'll see. So one of my favorite parts about these young teas is the sort of like second sweet, crisp, fruity flavors that can come up, even like kind of almost like a crisp fermented grass somehow, coupled with deep earthy juxtaposition flavors that slowly develop over time. There's that super like jammy sweet.
Yeah, so for poor pans, this region needs no introduction. Banzhang, it's very famous for being a very strong tasting region. Tea it has become famous probably in the last 15-ish years or so. So it's been famous for a while now. And Chensheng Hao is a company that is famous for kind of their relationship to that tea and having locked down like a good number of material each year for their own production. So some of it makes its way into blends. This one is actually supposed to be straight Banzhang. Okay. So from 2022. So as a result, it could be, we'll see what it's like. I don't have this type of tea all the time at all. So it's definitely a little bit of a treat. But yeah, reputation for being bitter up front and then having like a really nice flake on, lasting aftertaste afterwards.
Do you get any upfront bitterness?
Not yet, no. In fact, it's quite approachable on that first steep, but we'll see. The first steep of pu'er can always be very misleading.
Yeah. You know what? I appreciate the English instructions and descriptions in here. I think at a certain price point, I would hope for something like that sold to an audience in the U.S. Wow, I'm really excited to keep drinking this. First steeping is quite some promise there. Light.
Right, and we'll see. I really don't want to overdo this tea as far as like getting us too jacked up. Yeah. So I'm going to be treading on the lighter side of things too.
I want to get majorly jacked up, and everyone else does in the audience. So,
too old for this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that I'm too old for this shit too, but unfortunately I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here in this body, in this silly, immature mind. Salute. Cheers.
Cheerio.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's the bitterness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I would have been a little disappointed if this is completely not bitter, and frankly, slightly concerned.
It's there.
And it's quite sharp, too.
Yeah, very sweet still, but quite a bit of pointed bitterness.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
But it's interesting, and I think kind of the drinkability of this tea will kind of depend on not necessarily the level of bitterness, but the amount of kind of sweetness that comes after that bitterness.
Mm-hmm. And teas like this that offer something that's a bit brusque will age into something that's a bit more smoothed. You're hoping that the profile becomes cohesive. I think right now it tastes really good, though. It's very sweet. It does taste young.
Yeah, we'll see how much that bitterness builds to, because this could be one of those teas. I'm like, it's not that bitter, and then 3 steeps in, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, kind of a little bit of that tannin, mouth pucker. The leaves themselves really uniform in terms of the oxidation, which I think lends itself towards James's point about having it all be one source of material. It's a blend. Yeah, really pretty uniform in terms of the leaves, size, shape, color. Yeah, still a really fruity nose. I'm not getting it in the cup as much.
Yeah. And I will say the aftertaste that is lingering so far, we're still very early, is very, very sweet. And kind of that floral, slight fruit vein.
Cheers.
Cheerio. Each steep, it's different, gotta say.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they'd be similar, but no. This one's... The bitterness is different. It's still there. A little more herbal for me.
Yeah, earthy, grassy. Wow. Really dynamic tea.
Yeah, it's changing a lot, so we're gonna do a couple more of those.
Yeah, holy smoke. I mean, this is what you hope for in a tea that's going to have a price point like this, frankly, right? You want it to be a bit of an adventure.
Right.
I mean, you want it to age well, too.
Yeah, and say what you will about the steeping instructions on the back, but it goes to 12 plus steeps, according to this on the back.
Yeah.
So the first 6, less than 5 seconds, which is kind of what we're doing. And also, to the credit, I'm always wary of brewer producers that I brew my tea at less than boiling. They say use boiling, so cheers.
That bitter residual flavor building, it's like a kind of log scale. It's like just step up, flat, step up. Each steeping, I'm like, it's more bit. Like my tongue is almost like this numb, bitter thing.
Slowly getting more awake. Do you like it so far?
I do like it. Very stimulating is the wrong word, but attention demanding.
It is stimulating too.
Yeah.
To be clear.
Yeah.
I feel my eyes opening a little wider at each steep.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I would agree with what you said. Mom test, let's just check some of these off. No. Ultralight, no. Unless you are, you want to you want to do a 24-hour hike or something. Yeah.
Which people do out of Cascade Lofts.
Yeah. Let's see, what other tests we got? Costco sample test? No.
Yeah. Really powerful residual flavor. Really continuing just to drink this sitting here.
Tea-nerd test.
Definitely yes.
Yeah. Where would you put this in a tea-nerd test?
Probably... that's actually a really interesting question. Because the first couple of steepings were lighter. But now we're getting into that intense. It's almost like if we had some teas that were maybe a little bit too intense before this tea, it would have maybe obscured a couple of those early steepings, but now where we're at, this would definitely be the finisher tea.
Yeah, I think it kind of needs to be the finisher tea. The one exception I would say is if you're doing tea and then you're breaking it with lunch or something, maybe you could do this as the tea right before lunch, potentially. But I think it's going to be very, for instance, the Baliocha from Korea that we had in last episode would be a bad idea to follow this.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, it's getting bitter.
Yeah.
Not in an acrid way, though. So we've had some teas on the show that have been, it's almost like eating chewed up aspirin or something. It's just
and then it continues to taste like chewed up aspirin.
Yeah. And this has...
It's bitter. Almost sour now.
Yeah. This is bitter, but in more of that vegetal, grassy, classic pu'er flavor bitter.
How will this age?
Pretty well, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Yeah. If anything, I think the sweetness is almost a little bit too much up front. So I feel like aging out a little bit of that sweetness and depressing a little bit of the intense bitter flavors, I think it'll make it really lovely. And again, not to say that price point should dictate these things, but for a tea priced this way, I would expect and hope that you're going to age it. If you're buying a whole cake.
Sure. Yeah, you know? And I mean, to be clear, you can buy smaller samples of this too. So I think these sorts of teas are worth trying for sure if you can get access to them. This
is a thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Here you go.
Cheers.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta say, to its credit as being kind of a tea nerd's tea, it is constantly changing. Like, each steep is different. I feel like it's finally settling off. I feel like the steep here is kind of a little bit more on my vibe here in terms of, like, intensity. It's kind of leveled off a bit. It still has a really solid body. Definitely still pretty bitter. Yeah, what do you say? Do you want one more, or are you good?
Let's do one more.
Okay.
Ooh.
Hit me.
I know.
Hit me.
Yeah, holy smokes.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely leaves kind of a strong, grassy feeling. And, you know, this is for people that are like, ew, fucking, that's some weak sauce stuff right there. Give me some of that stronger stuff.
You would like the first steeping if you're an Iwu fan, but beyond that, it's pretty intense.
You would have been tricked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this is already approachable today. So I would say I don't have like an age and then drink by date, but I think in 5 years it would be really good.
You have to enjoy the strength of it for this tea. Yeah. This is not an everyday tea. If that has not been clear, right. It's like I would not drink this very often. I probably only drink this with someone else, or if I really wanted to study it, I would pick a very opportune time where my stomach is full, and I have the capacity to kind of put something like this into my body, because this is strong stuff.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Slightly pharmacological in nature.
Yeah. I mean, I expect you could probably take our pulses and like measure how fast we're talking to, and I think there might be a little bit of a difference as we've been going on this episode. Cheerio.
It's coming back around.
Ooh, it's still so strong.
It is strong, but
yeah.
Tasting more of the sweetness again. This is good. Yeah, I agree. This is not something that you can just like tacitly drink while doing something else. This is like slapping you in the face every sip, in a good way.
Yeah. This is the sort of thing where it's like you could come up with a plot where if you have like an uncle you wanted to bump off, or did you like a grandpa or something like that, and he has a heart condition, start putting this in his tea, and then like a month later, I'm shouting out to you, Alfred.
We want that will, buddy. Too much fun.
Too much fun.
Oh my god. Okay. Everybody, let's try to find a website here.
Yeah.
cspuer.com. Admin at cspuer.com. This is absolutely a pickup for me. But maybe
if
at
you have
the right
funds.
time in your in your tea drinking career, this is not something that I would jump to if you are not familiar with the category.
50 grams for about $100, I think. So, you treat it as education. You can split it with someone, do that. But yeah, it's certainly interesting and not an experience that is necessarily super easy to find.
Yeah. Certainly a treat. Treat it like such. Thanks to the folks out there at
Chensheng
Hao for sending this over. A taste of ancient trees, indeed. Yeah, really good, really different. Well, not really different. Really interesting, really tasty. What else do we do at the end of the show?
Follow us.
Yeah,
follow us.
Yeah, follow us on. Yeah, we have
subscribe.
We have an Instagram.
Yeah,
TBORG.
We're gonna do some crazy thumbnail for this with for both.
God. My buddy John was like, "You do the thumbnails, dude," and I'm like, "I know, man." She was like, James asked and I went for it, bro."
Yeah.
Sure did. Shameless. Okay. Send this video to your cat, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.